What is your American dream?
My American dreams at this moment, living the blissful aspect of knowing that I could be free of my detachments. If I could detach anything that is creating pain, and that this country has allowed me to become the best version of me, I think that is called the American dream for me.
The American dream too is about realization. The most important thing in my life is to find my home. I'm so grateful to be living in America, and it's such an experience for me. To connect with my soul is the way that I'm living my American dream.
Living the American dream in the wildest dream. Who would have ever thought that I was going to live in New York City, having these amazing choices and possibilities? America has been the best gift I ever had, because it has allowed me to become the best version of who I am.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Welcome, everybody. Martin Luther King. Happy Martin Luther King to everybody out there. Martin Luther King Day. It is January 18th. And out there somewhere in this world is Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Yo-Yo, up. I was going to call you, but there you are.
We here.
I was going to yell, Yo-Yo, Vanessa, do you hear me?
We hear you.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Then I don't have to yell then. How are you guys? How's your weekend? How is your extended weekend? I guess you guys were you off today? Were you vacationing today? No. Were you working today?
Oh, we work right now.
Well, I know you're working right now, but up until this point, were you working?
Yeah, for you.
There's no days off for me and Yo-Yo. There's no
I
days
was working
off.
today. I was working today. Yeah. Do you have?
I'm gonna be here now. Then.
It is MLK Day. Do you have anything that resonates with you, like a famous line or a famous quote from MLK? He has so many of them. I mean, so many. I put, and I don't know if this is my favorite, but this is what I put up on my Instagram today. It resonated with me for this year because he has so many to choose from. I wrote. Right. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. So I thought that resonated a lot, at least with me this year. I don't know, maybe personally and what's going on in the world. But I don't know. Does anything resonate with you or
for me,
yeah.
For me, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And that, like always, it was a quote that he has said. That always stuck with me, and I think that's why I go so hard, and my family as well, for protesting and just representing. So we take that very serious. So
yeah.
he has a book of quotes. Though,
I mean there must be thousands and thousands and they're all amazing. Yeah. So every year I read a different one. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good one too. Ones I never even knew that he said. What about you, Vanessa? Any?
I do have one, and it just worked perfectly with just everything that we've had going on this year and just some personal growth. But I pulled it up on the side. I had posted it on Facebook, and it was like, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving. And that was really important. As well as even with all the Black Lives Matter conversation that came up this year, it's just to see that someone, like Martin Luther King has been fighting for rights for all for so long. And, years later, and even him being such a memorable person in history, to still have his message be something that's so important and relevant nowadays is, I'm just glad that we celebrate this human.
I wonder what the squad has, if they have any really good quotes that they love, because there's so many to choose from and you can't complain with any of them. They're all just really, really inspiring and amazing. And, the other thing I was thinking about today, and maybe we can talk about it more during our schmooze, was, it's a little I guess, a little less of a celebration this year, maybe because of MLK, because of everything that happened with Trump and everything, and then I was like, not the greatest MLK based on what happened, where's his dream, where's everything, and then I thought to myself, because then I made myself a little down thinking about everything, but then I thought to myself, well, wait a second. America voted Trump out. Okay. Georgia voted a black reverend who took over Martin Luther King's church as their next senator. They voted a 32-year-old Jewish man, first millennial senator from Georgia, first millennial in the Senate period. And so at least, Trump tried to steal the election. And America fought back, and it didn't happen. Even tried to physically steal it by having a mob go into Congress. So, Martin Luther King 1, Trump 0 so far. We'll see what happens. At least,
Yeah, if anything, this is probably one of the best MLK days that I've had within the past 4 years. So exactly with what you're saying, we're getting Trump out of the office. Like we have a black vice president, female, female vice president.
That of course. How dumb of me not to have even mentioned that. Of course.
Right.
We're still getting used to it, Brad.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're still getting used to it.
Yeah.
So
like, to me, honestly, if anything, I felt uplifted today. I was like, this is one of the best MLK days that I can remember for within the past 4 years.
Well, yeah.
Because it's just horrible. Like, this is the best one from the 4 years that we've had.
Yeah. You know what? You've shined a light on me, Yo-Yo, because originally I was thinking about, and I thought about what happened in Georgia, and of course Kamala. How could I have forgot to have mentioned her? And and of course Trump losing, and America fighting back. He's out in 2 days. So I guess it's a celebration then. But for COVID, we should be celebrating, right?
Right. If it wasn't for COVID, I think that we would have made this MLK Day like
the greatest ever.
A situation.
Yeah. The greatest
situation
ever.
For sure.
All right. Well, let's say hello to the squad, and then we're going to get into some schmoozing. Jessica Limi Joel, squad up, my loves. How are you? And Violet Blackwood, squad up. Dion Reed, squad up, my love peeps. Sasha Ford, squad up. Abiudin Jamo, squad up to everybody. Lisa Bling Rose, squad up. Carol Anderson, the Tiger. Christy Consali, 2 more days. Yeah.
Yes.
We know what's going on in 2 days.
That's
we don't
the
have,
vibe.
we don't have to. We don't have to.
We don't even have to discuss it.
Right. And she's not getting excited for Hump Day, by the way. It's a completely different level, right? Because 2 days, it's a completely different level than Hump Day.
That's gonna be a good Hump Day.
It will be. It certainly will be. Who else we got here? I said Christy Consali. Stargirl Mika, how are you? Squad up. Carol Anderson, the Tiger. And Dion Reed, I think I said already. Joan Grant, squad up to everybody. And Violet Blackwood. Let's see what's going on YouTube. Jessica Limi, double fisting. Ja Love, how are you? Carol, the Tiger, also double fisting. Samran Ali, squad up, wants to know, can we ask a question here? Well, if you can't ask a question here, where are you going to answer? Ask it. So ask it right there in the chats on YouTube or Facebook. Or, of course, you could always, if you see the number scrolling on the bottom, that's the number to call to get on our show right now. You can talk to me live in about 30 minutes or so. Charlotte Muzu, squad up. Key, God bless, squad up. Sandy Montiero, squad up to you as well. And it's I Love Jesus. 2 more days from I Love Jesus. Why not, right?
Everyone's counting down.
Okay.
And Mr. Big.
Yes, we are.
2 great names, Mr. I Love Jesus and Mr. Big. 2 great names back to back. Says, good evening, Brad, to you and the team. Yo, Vanessa, take it away while I get ready for some schmoozing.
Absolutely. All right, squad, please remember to share. That is on all platforms. I need you guys to share because we're about to start schmoozing with Brad. He's going to fill us in on the latest news, including Joe Biden's plans regarding immigration laws.
And you guys already know it is Fuzzy Monday, so stay tuned for some funny and feel-good animal news.
And as I said earlier, you can call 1-800-529-5465. There I am, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, with my head on Dwayne The Rock Johnson, carrying a very heavy sign that says, call me, I'll answer your immigration questions. 1-800-529-5465. Our lines are open. We have a lot of empty lines at this very moment, so if you call, you will get on the show. And obviously, we will be schmoozing, but later in the show on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I will be speaking with activist and photojournalist Cecil Williams, who has documented the civil rights movement in the South since the 1950s. Yo and Vanessa, what time is it?
Yeah.
What time is it?
You already know.
It's time to schmooze with Brad.
There we go. I got my wrong cards here. Huh? Much better than schmoozing with me, right?
He thought he was gonna get us, Yo-Yo. He thought we didn't know
I
what time
thought
it
I'd
was.
catch you sleeping there because we were supposed to call over the weekend and have a 3-hour practice of that. It just didn't work.
And we did.
We never had our practice. We never had our practice.
Did it.
Meanwhile, it is Martin Luther King Day. It is a holiday. It's an official day of service and celebration of the civil rights leader's life and legacy. Joe Biden, as we have been talking about, he's going to be sworn in as the nation's 46th president in 2 days. Today, he was in Philadelphia, where he and future First Lady Jill Biden volunteered at Philabundance, the region's largest hunger relief group. Meanwhile, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, who resigned her Senate seat today, and husband Doug Emhoff volunteered at Martha's Table in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump and Melania, no public schedule on Martin Luther King. They were home packing or watching TV, whatever they were doing. But they did absolutely nothing to celebrate his life, his legacy, or what he stood for. Now, across the nation, it's not surprising, is it, Yo-Yo and Vanessa?
I was about to say, there's no surprise.
No surprise there, right? Why even waste my breath anymore, right? Now, across the nation, marches, parades, and other events to mark the holiday honoring Martin Luther King have been canceled, unfortunately, because of COVID. Many events moved online. But as we talked about at the top of the hour, right here, in bold letters, it says, Brad, this is the most important thing to remember on Martin Luther King. We will have our first female black vice president of the United States of America.
Yes.
That was a dream that Martin Luther King certainly had, that all men and women are created equal. We vote in and we put as our leaders the best, and it has nothing to do with the color of their skin or where they were born. So that was absolutely part of his dream. And I don't know, what is KQED Perspectives? I'm not sure what that is. Has a series of 2-minute personal testimonies about Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy for diversity. One of these were by author Lee Mal Lovett, a Chinese immigrant who arrived after the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. As a matter of fact, this is actually interesting and actually also very true. Lovett wrote that on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, she celebrates the civil rights movement that helped foster the historic opening of immigration laws. President Johnson spoke of lifting the bars of discrimination against immigrants. It was Vice President Hubert Humphrey urged us to bring our immigration law into line with the spirit of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The following year, the Hart-Celler Act opened the doors to people coming from China, India, Brazil, Pakistan, lifting the ethnic bans and quotas that existed for over 40 years. There was, prior to that, they had quotas based on Western Hemisphere and non-Western Hemisphere. So and that was how quotas were done for immigration. So how did Western Hemisphere work? Who's in the Western Hemisphere? It's Europeans. It was actually the civil rights movement that caused the diversification of immigration into the United States of America in 1965. So they're absolutely right. All as a result of the work of MLK and the other civil rights leaders of that generation.
Yeah.
KQED is just it's a media source. Seems
okay.
like they have a radio station and
Right. Okay. Good. Because I didn't know what it was, but
Yeah, 'cause I was trying to look it up.
but absolutely it was I guess a podcast by Lee Mal Lovett, who was a Chinese immigrant, and she arrived right after the Immigration Nationality Act of 1965. By the way, it was the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1960. My grandfather, Harry Spar, was, Spar and Bernstein. He got into immigration law right at that time in 1965, because prior to that, really, there wasn't really a lot of, he was an immigration lawyer prior to that, but he was doing immigration. He was just doing a little bit of everything. But it was that law that allowed Harry Spar, eventually become Spar and Bernstein, to practice solely immigration law, because you couldn't practice solely immigration law. There wasn't enough clients to do it until then.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's so interesting to see how things change over time. And then there's you, Uncle Brad.
And here we are. And here we are. Right. Yeah, because if it wasn't for that law and Martin Luther King and all the civil rights, we wouldn't even have a Brad Show live right now.
Wow.
Right? Think about it. Because then Harry Spar would not have gone into immigration law. Then I would not have been inspired to go into immigration law. And then we wouldn't be here today.
Right.
I wouldn't have even known you.
Who is this in this picture?
Who's
that in the picture?
Where?
In this picture that we...
I have no idea.
That's not... Oh,
No,
okay. Because every time we talk about your grandfather, I was like, I know that is your...
That looks like... Let's go back. I don't know who that picture is. That's not nothing. That's nobody in my family. That could be... looks like... I have no idea who that is. No idea where that came from. All right.
And we couldn't come up with anyone quick enough.
I'm stumped. Stumped me.
First time.
By the way, that's a new.
I was waiting for it.
By the way, that is a new game, Squad, on Brad Show Live. Who are these people? We're just going to put up some random pictures of some people, and we're going to ask you to figure out
in the comments.
Who are they?
I like the game. I like it.
Guys are silly today.
Meanwhile, there's going to be a pardon palooza tomorrow. The news says that Trump is going to be pardoning about 100 people. If that's the case, it will not be a record. The record was by Slick Bill Clinton, who pardoned 176 people on his last day. Obama pardoned more. He pardoned over 300 in his last week or two. But most of the people that Obama pardoned were low-level drug offenders who had huge jail sentences for decades. And he pardoned them. And he used his pardon power for acts of mercy and clemency, which is really the purpose of pardoning, to say, I'm going to right something that was wrong.
Right.
Trump is not righting any wrong. What Trump is doing is he is going to use the pardon power. You'll see it tomorrow. I'm sure we'll talk about it. We'll see who he pardons. But he's going to use the pardon power to pardon people who either will benefit him in the future or who owe him a debt because they protected him, such as this guy, Steve Bannon, or who paid somebody lots and lots of money who is very, very close to Trump to pardon. So Trump will use his pardon power. I mean, he'll surprise me and do otherwise, but I don't expect anything other than I will pardon this person because it will benefit me in the future, me being Donald Trump. I will pardon this person because they are my family member. I will pardon this person because they protected me in all of the various investigations against me and they got themselves in trouble. Or I will pardon this person because they paid somebody or even me lots and lots of money to do it.
Yeah.
But there will be nothing
real crooked.
But there will be nothing there about clemency and righting a wrong or anything like that. I doubt it.
Of course not, because remember, I forget the guy's name, but Kim Kardashian, like last month, literally was crying, like screaming through her fingers. She said she's dedicating the whole week to her tweeting and posting about a black man who was sentenced to go to death. And it was for something that he did not commit. He did not commit the crime, and he didn't, pardon him. So why would he right the wrong when he could right the people who did wrong for him? It's sick. It's wild to me that people could get away with this, and it's just blatant. Like he's doing it for his own benefit.
He needs to get his last favors in. He has few hours.
Well, so far, Trump has granted, just to, give a brief history of pardons of Donald Trump, 94 people. 49 he issued the week of Christmas, including his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, who was in jail for fraud and who refused to testify against Trump in the Russia investigation. Longtime confidant Roger Stone, who also lied to investigators. He was going to jail for lying to investigators about the Russian investigation in order to protect Trump. He got pardoned as well. Michael Flynn, Trump's first national security advisor, who pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI during the investigation of the Russian interference. Crazy. Trump pardoned him. Charles Kushner, the father of Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, got pardoned, as well as 3 Republican former members of Congress. 4 Blackwater contractors who killed dozens of unarmed Iraqis in cold blood. Murderers. Pardoned. He also issued full pardons to 3 former Border Patrol agents who were charged and found guilty of crimes on the southern border while violating a man's civil rights.
Like, I don't want to see any of those people free.
No. Well, here's some good news. Okay, on day 1, on Wednesday, in 48 hours, Joe Biden said he is going to be rejoining the Paris Climate Accords to reduce carbon emissions around the world. On day 1, in 48 hours, Joe Biden is going to end the travel ban on Muslim countries. He is also going to halt all evictions nationwide until further notice. He is also going to put a hold on all student loan repayments during the coronavirus crisis, all on day 1. On day 1, Joe Biden is going to mandate that if you are on federal property, you must be wearing a mask. On day 1, Joe Biden is going to send a massive, large-scale immigration plan to Congress. The plan is expected. It has not been announced yet. It is all speculation, but the speculation at this moment is that the plan will include an amnesty for the Dreamers, an amnesty for everybody who has TPS, no matter what country you are from, and a pathway to become legal and ultimately to become a United States citizen for everybody who is in the United States by a certain date who is undocumented. Now, that is a massive, massive amnesty program. That doesn't necessarily mean that, 1, it will pass Congress. And 2, if it does pass Congress, it will pass Congress in the form that Joe Biden put it to Congress. Even when Obama passed Obamacare that was ultimately passed didn't look anything like what Obama presented to Congress to pass. The art of politics is the art of compromise. And there will have to be a lot of compromise before we see ultimately this immigration plan come to fruition. They say, why there has not been anything positive for immigration since 1986. They say immigration is the third rail of politics. The third rail meaning the electricity that goes through the subway stations to power the trains. And if you touch the third rail, you die. So congressmen and senators are very, very fearful of passing anything for immigration positively, because that is basically a death, or at least in their minds, a death knell for their political prospects for the future. That's why they always call immigration the third rail of politics. So before we get overly excited, I would call myself cautiously optimistic rather than overly excited. Cautiously optimistic means that we are going to get a plan and a law that is passed that will help many people. To what extent, we don't know. To what hoops we have to jump through, we don't know. It will not be, my belief, it will not be a simple amnesty where you fill out a form and you get a green card. I doubt it, but I would love to be surprised otherwise. What I would suggest,
at least we know that.
Right. What I would suggest to people, everybody, is that generally the way that it is done is that, and the way that it's always been proposed in the past, is that people who are in the system, because congressmen always say we don't want people jumping the line. That's not fair. People have been waiting for their turn for years and years and years. So my guess will be, and I don't know because it's just a guess. And by the way, just because Biden doesn't even put in his plan doesn't mean that ultimately that's not how it turns out. But my belief will be that people who are in the system who have something pending will be able to get something quicker than people who did nothing. It's my guess. Okay, I don't know for sure. So to protect everybody, it doesn't hurt to file something. Nobody's coming for you. Joe Biden is putting, in the first 100 days, he's putting a stop to all deportation. So nobody's coming for you in the first 100 days anyway. That's what he says he's going to do. So to me, it makes sense. File something, get in the system. It can hurt you, and it could very well help you.
I think that's great
Squad's
advice.
going to definitely be looking out updates on this one.
We
definitely going to.
We will be. Meanwhile, in a...
That's crazy. Biden's doing more in the first hour of his presidency than Trump did in 4 years.
You're damn right. You're damn right he is.
That's crazy.
Or at least he's trying to.
You are damn right he is.
At least he's trying to. There's still, it's like Brad said, there's still so many levels to it. He can go in with what he wants or what he would like to see. There's still so many hands that it has to go through, and time will pass, months will go by, and we're hopeful, wishful.
I am glad that
regardless of the fact.
Go ahead, Leo.
I was going to say, regardless of the fact, I at least feel, even though that's going to happen, like it does have to go through so many hands, I just feel a lot better in my heart and my soul that the free leader of the world, our president, the person who's supposed to be having our backs, actually wants this. So I'm good with that. I'm good with him at least putting the effort in.
And I would say this, what makes me feel good as an immigration advocate is that this is the first president who said that immigration is important to him and is making it important. Meaning that every president, you only have so much political capital that you can push just so many different laws to change in that first 100 days. Every new president who comes in has that 100 days and has that political capital. And you could look at political capital like bullets in a gun. Okay, you only have a certain amount of bullets in a gun, and you can't shoot everything and shoot everybody. So you got to choose what bullet you're going to use. And in my lifetime, I've never seen a president come in and say, one of my bullets that I'm going to use in my first 100 days is for immigration. First time I've ever, even Obama. Obama talked immigration. Obama talked immigration. Obama's bullets were changing healthcare. He made Obamacare.
Right. Well,
but he was talking immigration. But by the time he got to immigration, his political capital wasn't there anymore.
Right, but do you think it's also because of what the immigration had to endure within the past 4 years, and that's why it's such a hot topic now that which would have Biden,
Yes,
that on a higher
I believe if we didn't have Donald Trump, so you want to look at a blessing in disguise if you want to. I don't know if it is or
Right.
not. But I believe if you didn't have Donald Trump, who was so vicious to immigrants, you would
Right.
not have gotten such a backlash and sympathy by a majority of Americans to give Joe Biden cover to change the immigration laws.
Right. Right.
My opinion. And meanwhile, in a last-ditch effort to be as cruel as he possibly can to immigrants, the Trump administration is deporting more African asylum seekers in the last few days than they have in a very long time. Now, the U.S. Customs and Enforcement has confirmed that there's an actual removal flight, and that's hundreds and hundreds of African asylum seekers who left Louisiana on Thursday bound for Nairobi. And there could be one final deportation flight that leaves Tuesday night, which is 12 hours before Trump gives up his office. That's another 300-400 people that he's going to deport before he leaves. He needs to be as cruel as he possibly can, right even at the last minute.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick, man.
I sent you over the weekend.
Yes.
I sent you over the weekend. We're not going to play it, but I sent you over the weekend a clip from our show about a year and a half ago. And I said, you know what my American dream is? My American dream is that someone take Twitter away from Donald Trump. And I said, what a beautiful world we would have if that would happen. And I was making a joke, and I didn't think Twitter would ever, at that point, ever take it away. And I just came across it over the weekend. I sent it to you, and I go, look, dreams do come true. And I sent it to both of you.
That was so good. And
Yeah.
it looked like it was dated in 2019.
That's
2019.
right. Yeah.
Look.
And now let me just tell you what's happened in social media and in the universe of social media and social media discourse since Trump has taken away his Twitter handle, or Twitter has taken away Trump's Twitter handle. Online misinformation about election fraud has plunged 73%.
Wow.
It has dropped more than 2.5 million mentions of election fraud in the week after Trump was banned from Twitter than before. This is across the entire internet, not just Twitter. Trump and his supporters have lost accounts on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitch, Spotify, Shopify. Trump's suspension is indefinite. Twitter banned more than 70,000 accounts affiliated with QAnon, which played a key role in fomenting the Capitol siege. Can you imagine? Down 73%. Fake news about election fraud that didn't happen, about Trump really being the winner.
That's crazy. That just goes to show how much power that man really had.
It also goes to show how much power our social media companies have, and how they could, if they wanted to, police better the discourse and make the discourse better for all of mankind. That's not to say that we should ban what is legitimate discourse, but there should be certainly policing of statements and activities that cause what we saw last week, when those statements are just absolutely not true.
Right.
Now, a study released the week before the presidential election by the Election Integrity Partnership found that just 20 conservative pro-Trump Twitter accounts, including @RealDonaldTrump, were the source of over 1/5 of all the retweets pushing misleading narratives about voting. So 20 accounts run by really, really smart social media hackers, I guess. I don't know what you would call them. Social media ninjas, people who really know. I don't know what you would call these 20 accounts.
I like the ninjas.
Yeah, I mean
the ninjas.
Like
you don't see them coming. You
don't see them coming. You don't know where they're coming from. 1/5 of all came from 20 accounts and caused all of this. It's amazing.
Wow.
when you think about it.
Wow.
Amazing when you think about it. Meanwhile, we have 95 million coronavirus cases worldwide, and they are saying now the number of American killed by coronavirus is 397,000. The number of all Americans killed in World War II, the greatest war of all time, 405,000. Sometime by the time Joe Biden gets sworn in the next 48 hours, we will have surpassed the number of deaths by COVID than all of the deaths in World War II. And to me, it is right on our leaders. It starts with Donald Trump. I hold him responsible. There were little things that just common sense things that could have been done to prevent all of this. I can go through it, and I'm not an expert in healthcare. Could have mandated people to wear masks. Okay? Instead, Donald Trump said, you don't have to wear a mask. And all the people around him said, you don't have to wear a mask. You want to know why? Because he felt, we're going to get a vaccine. And once we get a vaccine, everybody will get vaccinated. So we might as well keep the economy open for a couple of months. The vaccine's coming in December, and we'll all be good. And because we don't want
numbers will rise, but it's okay.
But the problem with that, yeah, look at that face. The problem,
Right.
Because that was his theory. His theory is, we're getting a vaccine in a couple months. Why do we have to close down our economy? Let's keep the economy going. We'll have a vaccine in December, and this will all be over with. Because that's what he kept saying, right?
Yeah.
Except having a vaccine doesn't save anybody. Vaccinating people.
Right.
Vaccinating people. Getting the vaccine. The vaccine doesn't help a soul. You manufactured vaccine, great. You haven't solved our problem. The problem gets solved when you take a needle and you put it in somebody's arm. That's when the problems get solved. And we are now 5 weeks or so into a Nobody is getting vaccinated. Why? Because they've made it too complicated to get vaccinated. They've made arcane rules to get vaccinated where only certain people can. They have not manufactured enough vaccine. And then when they have manufactured enough vaccine, they don't know how to get it to the right people. They don't have enough places to vaccinate people. They don't have enough doctors and nurses and other professionals who know how to vaccinate somebody. The whole thing was screwed up. Donald Trump and the whole federal government said, it's good enough that we make the vaccine. We're going to give it to the states. And they give the vaccine to the states, but they gave no money to the states. They gave no instructions to the states. They gave nothing to the states. Plus, they didn't even make enough vaccines. Plus, they promised more vaccines than they actually had. It is a very simple thing. They had 9 months to get this right. There's a manufacture, okay? And mandate. Tell companies under law you got to manufacture this. Don't leave it up to the private sector to figure out how much to manufacture. Okay, there's the Defense Appropriations Act or whatever it's called that mandates, the government says, goes to a company and says, you must manufacture this, period. Number two, they could have set up tent hospitals all across the country waiting for these vaccines to come in. They could have trained people on how to inject. They could have done so many things.
So they would have been ready to execute.
It was a total lack of execution, no plan whatsoever. Operation Warp Speed was these companies made the vaccine. And you know what? They made a vaccine that for all intents and purposes, if they can get it into everybody, would wipe away COVID. Because it's 95% prevents COVID, and the 5% who get it don't get it bad enough to be hospitalized. So if you get it into everybody's arm, COVID's over. We're back to normal. The economy's back to normal. And our whole nightmare is gone. but they didn't do anything.
They didn't do it. And then, I also read something back in December where it said like the U.S. declined to buy more Pfizer COVID vaccine doses. And that was even after, now I'm reading, even after the interim data board member said to do so. So my thing is like, did y'all even really want to save your people or what? Like, I honestly think it was just for the economy. Like,
no, it was just a whole, manufacture and get it in people's arms. That's all. That should have been plan 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. It's get a vaccination in an arm, and this is over. Until then, this goes on and on and on. Forever.
Wow. I never thought about that. You are so right about it though, because all he kept on saying was, we're going to get the vaccine. But like, I've not heard anything about how we're going to, give it to the people until administration started coming in and saying, this is what we're planning on doing. We're going to get this many people, this many million people in the first month. I didn't hear nothing about that with Trump.
And by the way, he left it up to the states, but didn't give any money to the states to do it. And who says the people in the states know how to even do this?
Know how to do it? Like, they don't. This is something we ain't never went through. Like,
are we investing in that? No.
It's irritating.
All right, let's. You know what? This is stressing me out, Yo-Yo.
Yes, me too.
It's stressing me out, Vanessa.
Come on, man.
I'm just gonna take my magic 8-ball and pet it.
Get fuzzy.
Pet. Let's get fuzzy, or I'll pet the magic 8-ball. Pet the 8-ball. Pet the 8-ball.
Feel fuzzy inside, Brad.
All right, let me tell you about a cat named Patches. This will cheer you up. Here's Patches. This is Patches. Let me introduce you to Patches. Patches was believed to have been killed in a California mudslide 3 years ago. Miraculously, Patches is still alive.
Oh.
Yeah, Patches belonged to Jose Gower, one of 23 people killed in a mudslide that hit Santa Barbara. Josie Gower in January 2018. Now, Gower's daughter, Brianna, said, we had kind of lost hope about Patches. Her mom had several cats that slept in her garage, which was destroyed during the disaster. But in December, Patches was found alive and roaming around the same area she disappeared. Said Josie's daughter, it's a nice thing to hear that after many years you can get a little bit of joy out of something that was quite horrific. Just weeks ago, Patches was taken in by the Animal Shelter Assistance Program, a local shelter in Santa Barbara. Staff say they were able to identify her because of the microchip registered under Gower's name. It's a great mystery where she's been for the last 3 years. To Brianna, the cat's reemergence is like getting a piece of her mama's home back, and she calls it a nice end to 2020. Yep, cats definitely have 9 lives. And the microchip works. Insane. The microchip works. I had a dog with a microchip that got lost, and they found the dog and microchipped her and brought her back to me.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the microchips definitely work.
But wait, did you say 3 years? The cat was missing for 3 years?
Yeah. Either that or a cat really has 9 lives.
Right. And you said the mudslide killed 23 people?
Yes, including the cat's owner.
But the cat survived.
Wow.
The cat survived, or so we think. Or maybe the cat has 9 lives.
I was like, what was the pet
cemetery? I think the cat has 9 lives, but we should ask Carol. Carol would know.
Carol would definitely know.
Carol, you tell us. Does that cat have 9 lives, or is that cat just roaming around for the last 3 years?
Just because she's the cat tigress.
Yeah,
right?
She would know, if anybody. Meanwhile, a pigeon that Australia declared a biosecurity risk has received a reprieve from a United States bird organization, declaring its identity leg band was fake. The band suggested the bird found in Melbourne backyard on December 26th was a racing pigeon that had left the United States in the United State of Oregon, the U.S. state of Oregon, 8,000 miles away. On that basis, Australian authorities on Thursday said they considered the bird a disease risk and planned to kill it. Okay, now I understand the story. They found a bird that doesn't deserve, that's not supposed to be in Australia, that's only found in Oregon.
Right.
And they said, wow, this bird made it to Australia, we better kill it because maybe it has some disease. You know, this U.S. bird may have some disease. But Dion Roberts, sport development manager for the Oklahoma-based American Race and Pigeon Union, said on Friday it was a fake. The band number belongs to a blue bar pigeon in the United States, which is not a bird pictured in Australia. So Australia's agricultural department, which was responsible for biosecurity, agreed the pigeon dubbed Joe after President Joe Biden was wearing a fraudulent copy leg band. What is a leg band? I don't know what a leg band is. That's why I'm confused on this.
He has a little blue.
Why?
He has a little blue leg band on his leg. Can you see it?
Yeah. Why?
In the picture?
Who puts the leg band on? What does this leg band signify?
I don't know. It might
they are
even be like
carrier
those
pigeons.
trackers.
They are carrier pigeons, according to Julian. So I guess somebody put on the wrong leg band on this bird.
Carol Anderson, the tiger, says it. Yes, he has 9 lives.
Tiger says 9 lives. Let's go back to the cat story. I like the cat story better.
Right.
I'm confused on this whole carrier pigeon story. What's going on?
I'm like, wait, so is it in danger? Like, are they going to hurt the pigeon? Like, it was just... It was just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger.
The good news is the pigeon's going to stay alive, all right? It was found.
Okay,
they were found. They're not killing the pigeon in
worried,
Australia. That's the good news. All right, let's go to dogs. Let's go to dogs instead. Two adorables. Jill says they put on ID bands on pigeons to identify them as carrier pigeons. Okay.
It's not your average pigeon.
Not your average pigeon. All right, let's go to dogs. Dogs can be fuzzy, right? Two adorable shelter dogs named Niles and Fraser. They're looking for their forever homes. The pups formed a strong bond during their time at the City Dogs Cleveland Animal Shelter. So the facility, those are cute dogs. So the facility is working to get the kid. Let's go back to the picture of the dogs. They're trying to find homes for these dogs.
Oh.
Yeah, to attract potential adopters for the pair. And to give Niles and Fraser a treat, the shelter took the 2 pups on a sleepover at a nearby hotel, dressing them up in matching pajamas. Now, while at the hotel, the 2 dogs cuddled together while still making time for some silly antics and exploring. City Dogs assures anyone interested in the pups that they enjoy meeting new people and are quick to make friends. The dogs also described as generally polite and easy. They are 5 years old. They weigh 50 pounds, and anyone can call out to City Dogs in, where is this? Cleveland, Ohio, to get these dogs. They're very cute, by the way.
Cute.
And by the way, I read that dogs are going very fast. Especially with COVID, people want dogs.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, more people are staying home. Dogs is a man's best friend. I actually want a dog, but I had a dog before, and it's a lot to take care of. So, but I could understand.
Did you have a big dog or a small dog?
No, it was a medium size, like 12 pounds. He was a Cocker Spaniel mixed with a poodle. He looked like me, brown and curly hair.
Did you call your dog Yo-Yo? That'd be great if you called your dog Yo-Yo.
No, I called him Polo because he looked like the polo bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a dog, Vanessa?
He looked like me.
No, I mean, we had like a pug in the Dominican Republic, but not here in the States. I got pets back in the island, not here.
When my kids were babies, I brought home this huge standard poodle, and it was big. It was like a horse. It was like 65 pounds, like huge. And this dog, and I remember when my daughter Gabby, she was like a little 3-year-old. She's like running around like this, and this dog would come and just literally bowl her over in the kitchen. She'd go flying and crying. I'm like, this dog's killing my kids. So, and as much as I love that dog, because it was so cute, I had to get rid of it.
What color was it?
It was like a reddish brownish color. It wasn't even like it was like
ginger.
Yeah, like a ginger color. And this dog was very cute. The dog was just licky to death. But the dog had
they're sweet.
Yeah, but the dog had no manners. It didn't know how to be polite to little kids, and it would just like go running over and just go totally, like my kids were like, one of the bowling pins, in a bowling alley. I'm like, up, The strike again.
Honey, they got the kids.
Oh, they got the kids again.
It builds personality.
Yeah,
It's all good.
So then we got small dogs, where I ended up with Lucky and T-Bone because we got small ones after that.
Oh,
But yeah, big
that.
ones are cute too. But big ones are cute too. All right, let's do one more, and then we're gonna get to our immigration questions. All right. Animal rescuers in Scotland are scheduling for the owners of an escaped hamster that braved sub-freezing temperatures to make its way to a candy store. The Scottish SPCA said the hamster was caught on closed caption television footage clinging to a person who entered the Poundland candy shop in Glasgow on New Year's Eve. The hamster jumped over the unaware shopper inside the store and was soon captured and turned over. But not before the hamster got some candy. The SPCA said, we've named the little adrenaline candy junkie Tom Cruise for now, given his Mission Impossible-esque attempt to get some treats for New Year's. You like hamsters? I'm not into hamsters. You into hamsters? No.
No rodents.
Anything that resembles anything that resembles mice, I just can't get into.
Yeah, no mice, no hamsters. They smell. They don't do anything for me.
No, someone was telling me yesterday, what are these sparklers, like those flying squirrel things? I met a girl that had them as pets.
I don't know anything about a flying squirrel, but I wouldn't want them as my pet. Maybe we'll have her on as a guest for Fuzzy Monday next week, and she can bring her flying pet to the show.
To the studio.
We can start bringing live animals. We can start bringing live animals to Fuzzy Monday. What do you think, Yo-Yo?
Yeah, cut me out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
dog, like that. If it's a dog or something like that, you can't.
Yo-Yo's taking the poodle.
Birds. I'll take the poodle.
Yeah, poodles were cute.
Birds. I forget your thing with birds.
All right, by the way, guys, this is an immigration show in case we forgot. So in today's Braducation, I'm going to give tips on what to do if you're injured in a construction accident, because I give those tips also. Let's watch. In New York, there is strict liability. You get injured on a work site because either the employer did not follow proper safety protocol and give you a proper safety device, or because you fall or something falls on you. First thing you should always do is stay exactly where you are. Don't get driven to the hospital. Don't have your employer drive you to the hospital, because as soon as that happens, the employer says, this person didn't get hurt here, and you're an undocumented alien and you're concerned about bringing litigation, and now there's a question of whether you were even working on that work site because you're getting paid off the books. There's no payroll records. So if you get injured, you stay exactly where you are. Everybody has a cell phone. You call 911 for two reasons. Number one, it's the quickest way to the hospital is with an ambulance, quicker than your employer driving you. And number two, an ambulance picking you up where you got injured in a construction site documents you were injured on a construction site. And they have safety inspectors on the job site. The safety inspectors, they make pretend they're your friend, but they are not your friend. The safety inspectors are employed by the insurance companies to try to get information from you so that they can say they're not responsible for the accident. They come to interview you, they come to be your friend, but they're really not your friend. And lastly, take a lot of pictures, because by their own design, construction sites change every day because things are getting built. I got some answers for you in Call Me With Your Immigration Questions. Or getting answers to your immigration questions. I don't even know what, 3.5 years into this, I still don't know what we call it, but it's getting answers to your immigration questions. Let's go to Lindy in Brooklyn, New York. Lindy.
Hey, how you doing, man?
How are you?
Good. My asylum individual hearing is on February 11th, but my I-130 is still pending since April. What should I do next?
Write the judge and ask to recalendar to a master calendar. So you're still waiting on the approval of the I-130, and that should be done by the immigration judge. It's up to the judge, but hopefully they will do it.
Hopefully they will do it.
Mm-hmm. You have your lawyer do that. Hold on.
My lawyer has been saying that the courts are closed all day.
Okay, well, you should still write the judge nevertheless. So hold on one second. They're there. They're just not seeing you. Let's go to Jody in Middletown, New Jersey. Jody.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Brad?
Good. What's going on?
My question is, I filed the I-765 while in removal, and I wanted to know if it was a possibility that I would still be granted a work permit.
Depends on what relief you are requesting in removal. What are you requesting?
What do you mean? Like when I filed, what grounds did I file on the C, like the C9 or something like that?
No, when you're in removal, the judge wants you to be deported. The judge says, I'm going to order you deported. Before I order you deported or removed, because they don't use the word deported anymore, but we all know it is deportation. Before I order you removed, are you seeking any relief from removal? Seeking relief means that you are requesting to be able to live in America.
Yes.
What is the relief that you are asking for?
I filed the I-130 and I got approved for the I-130.
Did you file an adjustment application?
Yes, and they sent back a letter said it was administratively closed.
Okay, even though it's administratively closed, it is not terminated or denied, so yes, you can get a work permit.
Okay, and do you know what time frame I would be looking at for that?
They're like 6-7 months out, unfortunately, right now, but hopefully that'll change when the new administration comes in.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. That helped a lot.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's go to Dennis in San Diego. Dennis.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, Dennis.
How are you? Doing well. Thanks so much for what you do, keeping the immigrants informed. I have a question about my RFE in regards to my I-485 that I got right after the interview. It's a marriage-based. I was F1 before from the Netherlands. It asks for all the I-20s and all the enrollment records, transcripts, and all that good stuff. Now, my question is, I found out in the process of requesting all these documents from the previous schools that one school never transferred my TVIS records over, and even though I was taking classes for over a year, I did not have a valid I-20.
Are you let me ask you a question. Are you married to a U.S. citizen?
I am.
Okay,
I am.
So ultimately, it's not going to matter then, because even if you violated your immigration status, the fact that you were in a legal status at one point in time, you made a legal entry into America, I assume there was no fraud involved. Ultimately, it's not going to make a difference, and you'll still be able to adjust.
Perfect. But I did leave the country after attending the second school. And then I came back on a new visa, where one of the questions in the DS-160 is, have you ever violated your student status?
Okay, so now potentially, you potentially could have a problem, meaning because the misrepresentation could be considered not that you went to school and when you went to school you didn't have an I-20, it was that you left the United States, you came back on a visa, and you said you never violated your visa, when in fact perhaps you did, maybe unknowingly. So that could be considered a misrepresentation, and then that could be a reason to deny you, and then you would need a waiver. So what I would suggest you do before you do anything is have a really good lawyer take a look at this and help you out. So hold on one second, okay?
That makes perfect sense, but should we disclose it right now that I overstayed, found this recently out?
You've just disclosed it to the entire world, to be frank with you. But I think what you need is a private consultation. I wouldn't necessarily, I would submit what they are asking for. Okay.
Yep, and not extra information.
Right.
That I just found out.
They didn't ask for that, and let them make the determination whether you did something wrong or not. But certainly, again, I would suggest not moving forward without a lawyer. So hold on one second, all right?
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. God bless.
All right, let's go to Ulrich in Tacoma Park, Maryland. Ulrich.
Yes, Brad. How you doing today? Good. My question today is because my brother-in-law filed a I-130 petition for his wife, and he is a green card holder. He came with a DIF lottery visa, and the petition got approved, and they transferred it to the National Visa Center. And then all the documents that the National Visa Center requested was already submitted, and they did approve everything. Now that the Donald Trump travel ban for a suspension is over, what do you recommend us to do?
Keep processing it.
I didn't quite get that. Say that again, please.
Keep processing it. Eventually, the travel ban was not a ban against processing an application. The travel ban was getting the immigrant visa or the visitor's visa, whatever visa you were trying to get at the U.S. Embassy. So that ban's going to be lifted. Keep processing the application. Eventually, they'll get an appointment. And they'll get what they're requesting, hopefully.
Okay, because at this stage right now, I think we are waiting for the appointment to be scheduled because all the documents
all right, so
that
then,
they asked for.
So hopefully that will happen shortly.
Okay, so do you recommend us to call them and find out if there's anything going on?
I wouldn't call them right now. You're going to get a new president in 2 days. Wait for Biden to lift the ban. Wait a few weeks and then contact them.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right.
Fatu in Cincinnati, Ohio. Fatu. Fatu.
Hello, Brad.
Hi,
I
how are
have a
you?
question.
Yes.
Good, yeah. I just got my 10-year green card, and then let's say that my marriage is falling apart, and I was thinking about living with the kids. My question is the law requiring me to stay there?
No. You have a 10-year green card. When did you get your 10-year green card?
2 months ago or a little less than that.
Okay, no, the law doesn't require you to stay in an unhappy marriage. You could leave. When you go to apply for your citizenship, they may question you why the marriage broke up right after you got your 10-year green card, but it is what it is. If you were in a real marriage and it broke up, and that's what it is.
Okay.
All right, but you don't have to stay in an unhappy marriage. Nobody ever says that.
Okay, so I shouldn't be having any trouble other than that?
Nope. Other than that, no.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Good luck. Ria in Chicago, Illinois. Ria.
Hi, Brett.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Brett. I'm doing good, thank you. I do have a question about my current immigration situation. I married a U.S. citizen in 2018. Initially, I came on H-1B visa. I'm from India. And soon after my marriage, he was abusive and he was doing drugs. He got incarcerated. And at the same time, I filed my I-485 and I hired an attorney. And he said it was okay. And then, I proceeded with my I-485, I-130, 131.
You did the I-45 with the abusive husband who was in jail? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
okay.
yes, sir.
All right. And
yes.
when was this? When was this?
Right before he was incarcerated, we filed the documents, and after 1 week,
what year was this?
2019, March.
Okay.
And then he was arrested, and then in 2019 September, I got an interview for I-485. I did by myself, and because he couldn't come because he was incarcerated. And later, I got annoyed in May 2020, stating that there are inconsistencies in my marriage because of the abuse and on me. I couldn't prove that my marriage is bona fide. I have all the evidence.
Why didn't you just file an abuse case from the beginning?
I did, sir. I did. But the noise was really terrible. They also pulled my H-1B record that my ex-spouse's date of birth was mismatched.
So then, if it was a real marriage, we have to help you prove that. I don't know how to, do it on a live show at this very second, but I think you probably would want to have a consultation with me. Now, let's try again, okay? And we'll prove it's a real marriage. You can try again, okay? If there's abuse, there's abuse.
But the problem here is they sent me a note on May 15, 2020, and internally the records say that on June 5th they denied my 485.
So what I'm saying to you is, we'll try again. We're going to refile everything
Sure.
again. All right? You can file again. There's no law that says you can't. So,
Okay.
so if you failed the first time, we look at the reasons why you failed, and we say, how can we correct these failures? How can we do this better? How can we do that better? And we submit a new application. So hold on one second,
So-
okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Let's go to Ausman in Madison, Wisconsin. Ausman.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I have a quick two questions here. One is when you have your spouse I-131 pending, and then you have the baby. So how are you gonna add that baby into your spouse I-131?
Wait, I'm confused. You filed for your wife. You're a U.S. citizen or a resident?
Resident.
Okay. And your wife just gave birth to a child, and where is your wife?
Yeah, it is outside the United States in Europe.
Okay. And where is the case at this moment?
The case is with USCIS. The I-31 is not yet approved.
I-130 is not yet approved. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you'll do is just wait for the approval, and then the case will get sent to the National Visa Center. And when the case gets to the National Visa Center and they write you for a fee bill, you will write them back and say, I need an additional fee bill. We've since filing the I-130 visa petition, I'm the proud father of a new baby boy or baby girl or whatever it is. And you submit a photocopy of the birth certificate to the National Visa Center and say, please add this child on, send me a fee bill for the child as well. And then that's how you're going to add it on. If you send a copy of the birth certificate now to USCIS, it won't reach the file. It'll never coordinate. So you wait till it gets to the National Visa Center.
Okay. My last question is actually about like a N400 application. So number 23, so they're going to ask you.
Stop right there. If you are applying for your citizenship,
yes,
and you become a citizen before your wife gets her green card, even if you want to include your child on that application, the child's going to fall off, and then you're going to be a very sorry man that your wife is here and your baby's left back home. So now that I know that you are filing for your citizenship, my advice to you, in addition to what I just told you, is file a separate I-130 visa petition for your daughter, knowing, is it your daughter or your son?
My son.
Yeah, file a separate I-130 visa petition for your son right now, because you have to understand and know that once you become a citizen, even if you add your son onto your wife's case, if she's not here yet, the son gets taken off. So knowing that is all going to happen, file an I-130 now, so at least your son is not too far behind your wife if you become a citizen.
Okay. So, so I have that question on the citizen form there. It's like a question like, have you ever been arrested, cited, or something like that? And then I put there, I already submit my application. I put there no, but like I'm an asylum seeker, and then on my asylum application, I put there I was arrested. But I don't understand that question very well. That's
so
why.
You'll fix it. You'll fix it at the time of the interview.
You say what?
You will fix it at the time of the interview. You go into the interview, say, I answered the question incorrectly. I want to fix it.
Okay, no problem.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Wait. Let me ask you a question, because I want to make sure you understood me. What I tell you before, which was even more important than what I just told you now.
Okay.
What I tell you?
Oh, you told me about like which one? This one or the first one?
First one.
Oh, the first one you were saying about like I apply for I-131 for my son now before my wife.
I just wanted to make sure you understood that, because I didn't want to
I understood.
the other. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Karen in Long Island. Karen.
Hi, Uncle Brad. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Fine. Okay, so I filed an investment of status in March,
right,
and I finally got to do my biometrics in October of last year. I have not received an approval letter or anything yet, but my concern is right now that I'm pregnant and I'm not able to be on my husband's insurance because I have no social. Could you tell me how does that work?
You can get Medicaid for your pregnancy, for your unborn child, and you can be included on that Medicaid through 28 days after the birth. So apply
Okay.
for Medicaid right now. It won't hurt your case, being pregnant.
Okay.
And hopefully you get through. But make sure that the Medicaid's for you and the unborn child until the child is born. Then you have 28 days to get off.
Okay, then. Thank you
Okay?
so much.
All right, good luck.
Thank you, Uncle Bob. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Constantinos in the Bronx.
Hey, Brad, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, question. I've been listening to your program, and your input is unbelievable.
Thank you.
For everyone. I just want to thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
I have a situation over here where I married at 2005. I ended up applying for adjustment status, and they declined. They came back with a rejection letter. And then we ran into somebody who put us on a asylum, and we pulled out of the asylum. And then we went on and
Who's we?
me and my wife, we went over to somebody,
What?
another attorney.
Okay, so why
and
did you, go back a second. Why did you file for adjustment? What was the basis of the adjustment?
We tried to file for her status with
How?
adjustment status
How?
through paying the penalty. What is it? The penalty, and then
Who
the.
was sponsoring you? Was it a job?
No, it was. I'm sponsoring my wife.
You're the citizen.
Correct.
Now I understand. Okay. How did your
So-
wife? Let me ask you another question. Where's your wife from?
She's from Bolivia.
Okay. How did she come to America?
She came in with a tourist group with false information. They put it in the system and blah blah blah. Basically.
So she was put in removal at one point.
No, never. She never
Okay.
got put in
All right,
removal.
So she came here on. She was inspected legally in the airport in a document that didn't have her name, but had somebody else's name and information.
Yeah, she came through the border over there by Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you did file for her before April 30th, 2001.
No. I guess that's where the problem was on the adjustment, right?
Because you had to file before April 30th, 2001. What happened with that?
Something went wrong. We didn't file on time or whatever it was. We filed in June, if I'm correct.
I understand. Okay, so that's why you weren't able to adjust her status.
Exactly. Then we went to somebody.
I understand. Let me just. I promise you, I'm going to let everything out. I just want to get everything correct in my head. Does she have the document that she used to come into America, or she doesn't have that?
The I-94, we searched. We couldn't find it. No.
You can't find it. Okay.
No, we already requested USCIS for that, and they came back with nothing.
All right. So then somebody told you to apply for asylum. That was pretty bad.
Asylum, and that option I didn't like. In the beginning, we went for it, but then we pulled out, and we ended up getting a letter confirming that we pulled out.
Okay.
So what we did now is we applied for the 601A waiver, which we applied in November 2019.
Right.
We've been waiting over a year now. We're waiting for that status to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
And the two questions I have for you is this: is how long do I wait for the 601 way? And if an amnesty program kicks in with Biden, do we apply?
601A is taking over a year right now, unfortunately. So you should be hearing shortly. Hopefully you get approved. And yes, if the amnesty program kicks in, you should be applying. You were never in the military.
No.
No. And you have no family in the military, no children in the military or anything?
Negative.
Negative. Okay. And where is your wife's parents?
Wife's parents deceased. She came from Bolivia, and I married her in 2005, and then I told you the whole story.
Right, okay. But the parents never came to America?
Never, no.
Never, no. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, the way to go is the provisional
Okay.
waiver. Hopefully it gets approved it should be approved shortly. I mean, you're already 13 months into it, so you should be hearing, within weeks or days.
Okay.
But if the Biden amnesty, something happens, obviously, why wouldn't you take advantage of it?
Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. If all those incidents that happened with the adjustment status, they found some errors on her application, but they did not confirm that it was fraud. They just said they came back negative because of.
This is the problem you have.
Yeah.
Okay. The fraud is not as I'm thinking about it. So I take back what I just said. I'm not even sure if the provisional waiver is right for you. And the reason is this. The provisional waiver waives undocumented status in America. It doesn't waive fraud. So it doesn't even matter the fraud she committed on the adjustment, whether it was or wasn't. She committed fraud in her entry into America.
Correct.
So because she committed fraud in her entry into America, when she goes back to Bolivia to pick up her green card, she has realistically two choices. She could tell the truth on how she came, or she could lie. Nobody's telling her to lie. But if she were to lie, she's now committing a second fraud.
Right.
Which you don't want to do. If she tells the truth, she's already admitted to a fraud. She's going to be denied, and then have to file a second waiver in Bolivia, which will take another year, and you and your wife are going to be separated a year. Yeah, and
just to clarify,
that waiver gets approved.
Yeah.
So I don't even know that the provisional waiver is the right thing here.
Yeah. Lastly, is that was not confirmed as a fraud. It was basically misleading information on the application.
That's a fraud. All right. So I don't know. I don't know who's telling. In other words, let me explain something to you. What misrepresentation is.
Yeah.
Okay. In misrepresentation is something that is not truthful. That had the truth been known, a different outcome would have happened.
Right.
So she entered America on a visa that wasn't her name.
Correct.
That wasn't truthful. Had the government known this was not her name when she came into America, a different result would have happened. They would have sent her home.
Right.
But they let her in. That is, you know, right there, boom, fork in it, misrepresentation.
Any last effort we have? Any other final options we have that you could help out with?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I think you should definitely have a consultation. So hold on one second. All right.
Okay.
Let's go to Deanna in Margate, Florida. Deanna.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, Uncle Brad. I just one question I want to ask you, and I wanted to give me your honest answer. I filed my I-1750 or something like that.
I-751.
Right. Me and my husband is going through a divorce. Now I got my interview, which was canceled because it was a 19, so it got canceled because of President Biden.
Right.
So
no, it got canceled because of President Trump, because they're scared that all these domestic terrorists are going to go attack immigration. The day Biden's getting elected, getting sworn in. So they canceled immigration.
Trump needs to go anyway.
Yeah,
he needs to go.
All right, but my answer to you is this. When you get your interview, you're going to go to that interview by yourself without your husband. Bring proof that you're going through a divorce, or hopefully maybe even your divorce is done. Ask the immigration officer to convert your case from a joint application to an application based on a divorce. But we can prove that the marriage prior to starting the divorce was a bona fide marriage. And as long as you can prove, not today you live with the man, and not today it's bona fide because you don't live with him anymore, but
I'm still living with him, Brad.
Okay.
We're going through a divorce. I'm not coming out of the house. We just bought this house.
All right, well then I would still go by yourself because you're going through with a divorce. I would not go with him and say, hey, we're in a happy, lovey-dovey marriage when you're not. All right, and you bought a house together, so what more proof do you have that it's a real marriage?
And we have a son together.
And you have a son together, so you're not going to have a problem. So just go with the truth.
Okay, thank you so much, and God bless you, and keep on doing the good work.
Thank you. If you need help, hold on. Let's go to Keisha in East Orange, New Jersey. Keisha. Keisha? You're there. Keisha. Keisha.
Hello, Brad.
Hi, Keisha. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you.
What's going on?
Just calling to find out. I submitted my application in November, my adjustment application.
Mm-hmm.
And for some strange reason, the post office returned my receipt notice to UCIS.
Why was that? Why do you say strange reason? You don't know why? The post
I
office
don't know why,
returned
because
it, or immigration returned it?
No, the post office.
Well, then,
when I checked
then you didn't put enough stamps on the envelope, or you put the wrong address, one or the other.
No, I used FedEx, but I got the notification that it was
FedEx has a separate address. FedEx can't deliver to a PO box. So if you put a PO box on, you can't put a United States Postal Service P.O. box on a FedEx envelope because FedEx isn't the United States Postal Service. So
No,
so
this is the issue.
So wait,
I don't think
I'm just trying to figure it out. So FedEx has a separate address to send all applications to from United States Postal Service.
No, I know. I sent it to the lockbox using the FedEx service.
Okay.
But I checked my case status online, and it told me that they received my package, and the e-notice. I got the e-notice that told me that I got my receipt.
So then why was everything returned to you by FedEx? That makes no
I
sense.
know the notice wasn't mailed to me. They said when I checked my case status online, it said the notice was returned. The receipt notice was returned to USCIS because the post office couldn't deliver it.
So your application did make it. You're just not getting mail from immigration then.
Right.
Okay, that's a different situation. So just call back USCIS and say, I don't know why it was returned. Please send it back. It's just you have a post.
I called them. They said it can be some typo.
Okay, you have a post office issue. Okay, go down to the post office and say, hey, can I get my mail? You have a post office issue. It's not an immigration issue.
All right. No problem.
All right.
But will this implication on my case?
I'm sorry?
Will there be implication on my case?
No, just correct the issue. Call up immigration, say, please mail it out to the same address again, and go down to the post office and say, please deliver my mail.
Okay.
Okay?
No Thank you, sir.
Okay. You're welcome. Reginald in Boston. Reginald.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What are you?
Good. What's going on?
I have one question for you. And I'm in Boston now, and my wife, I'm married to a U.S. citizen, and my wife filed for me last July 2020, and it's my second wife. So I had on first wife, but I got divorced. But the divorce came from the France because my first wife lived in France since 5 years.
Okay.
But the first marriage was in Haiti, so there is a problem with the paper with the divorce decree.
What you're saying is you're on your second marriage. Your first marriage was in Haiti, and your wife divorced you in France because she was a resident of France for the last 5 years. That seems okay.
Yes. It's okay?
Yeah.
So is that a problem?
I don't see a problem.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Steve in the Bronx. Steve. 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 Steve in the Bronx. Sam in Sacramento.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good day, Mr. Brad. I just want to say a big thank you for the good job you're doing.
Thank you.
God bless you. Quick one, sir. I have two questions. One, I filed for my removal of condition on my green card. I've actually gone to divorce, and the divorce was finalized last year, October, and I'm still waiting for the judge. The judge already finalized everything. I'm waiting for the certificate and also. And I filed my removal of condition of September, and I was able to get I got an extension from the USCI. So, my first question is, how long will that take for me to get my 10 years green card? And I came here 2018. So, what year can I become a citizen? Can I apply for a citizen? And the last question is, if I intend to remarry again, can I file for my wife and bring my wife with my 10 years green card? Is it advisable?
All right. So how long is it going to take to remove the conditions? It's taking somewhere between 18 to 24 months right now. Hopefully that gets better. Number two, you can file for your citizenship 90 days before the 3-year. I'm sorry, you can't because you're now getting divorced.
Yeah.
So you can't file for your citizenship until 90 days before the 5-year anniversary of your green card. So your citizenship is way off in the future. And number three, you cannot get married to somebody else and apply for them within the first 5 years of you getting a green card through your first marriage unless you ultimately are a citizen. So So you are now in the process of removing your conditions of your permanent residence.
Okay.
You're about 2.5 years into your conditional resident card. You have not removed the conditions of your permanent residence yet. You cannot get married for another 2.5 years. And I mean, you could get married, you just can't file for that spouse for 2.5 more years. So until that 5-year mark, and then around that 5-year mark, that's also when you're going to file for your citizenship.
All right. And quick one, sir. If I decide to move, I'm in California now. If I decide to move to another state, will that slow or actually have an effect, a negative effect on my
The only negative effect is it may slow it down when they transfer your file from one state to the next.
Okay. All right.
But don't stay in California for 2 years just to get a green card that much quicker. Go live where you're going to be happy.
All right. Thank you.
All right?
Appreciate it,
All right.
sir.
Good luck. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Kimberly in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's Kimberly or Kimberlyn?
Hello.
How are you? Kimberlyn or Kimberly?
Kimberlyn.
Kimberlyn, how are you?
I'm okay. I just wanted to find out a little bit question. I am currently in the United States on my visitor visa. My husband is a green card holder since August 2019. He migrated with our kids. But since then, I came up November 2020 on my visitor visa. But I said before, because of COVID, I have to be with the kids doing online school and stuff. So we wanted to do the petition, the I-130 and the I-130A, with the intention that I wouldn't have to go back to Jamaica to do the interview.
Stop right there.
How does that work?
Okay, you're not even saying the right forms. Stop right there. Okay, you have to. Okay, you're married to a resident. If you need to file what's called an adjustment application, which is the I-45 with the I-130, with the I-130A, with the I-864, the I-944, the I-765, the I-131, blah, 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 and move the whole adjustment caboodle. I don't even know if there's...
So I can do that...
Just finish. I used the word...
Okay, I was asking if I could...
Let me finish. I'm going to answer all your questions. I promise you. I already know what you're thinking.
Okay.
But if I don't answer it, then mea culpa on me, and I will spend all the time that you need to answer the question. But I think I'm going to answer everything. Okay?
Okay.
So you cannot do anything for the first 90 days you come to America. So what day did you come to America? What day did you come to America? What day did you come to America?
November 19, 2020.
Okay. So that's December, January, February. Between now and February 19th, 2020, you do nothing. Zip, zero, sit on your hands. And the reason is this. If you file any paperwork within your first 90 days of your entry into America, you have committed a misrepresentation. And now you're getting denied. After February 19th, you're past 90 days. Now you can do something. But you came on a visitor's visa, and that visitor's visa gave you a status for 6 months. So you basically have a 90-day window to deal with this before you fall out of status. Because if you're married to a resident, you don't get the luxury of those who are married to citizens who can fall out of status and still adjust. Married to a resident means you got to keep legal status every day of your life. So between February 19th, you have March, April, probably May 18th, you got to leave the country, or May 17th, whatever, something like that, right? So between February 19th and that whatever that day is in May, you have to properly file an adjustment application. It's not enough to file an I-130. If you filed an I-130, you would have fell out of status. You would have been here illegal, and the whole thing would have went to the dumpster. What you need to do is file an adjustment, an I-45, I-130, I-130A, and you only have that window of time to do it between February 19th and May something, presuming that priority dates is still current, which I assume they will be. Okay. So that's your window of opportunity.
Okay.
And then if
Thank you so much.
And then if you're able to do that, you would get and do it right, you would get your work permit, your travel, and ultimately your green card here. You won't have to go home for anything. When you go back, you'll go back with a green card. All right. And if you need help,
Okay.
Did I answer your questions?
Yes, you did. Basically, you did.
Okay. So hold on 1 second. If you need help. Hold on if you need help. All right. By the way, if you didn't get your immigration questions answered, you can always follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein. If you follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein, you could drop me a DM. You can ask anybody in the squad. I do answer the questions. Sometimes I get inundated with them, so it takes me a day, but I am personally answering all your questions. I'll either answer it or I'll tell you, you know what, call my office or we'll call you, or whatever needs to be done will be done. But you can always drop me a DM. I'm happy to try to help as best as I can. Just follow me at Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram. You could also follow us on Instagram at Brad Show Live. If you follow us on Instagram at Brad Show Live, and you can't handle 2 hours of this, but you can handle 2 minutes of this, well, get the best 2 minutes at Brad Show Live on Instagram. And Jonathan and Vanessa.
Yes, you guys can follow me at Jonathan Ellis TV on Instagram.
And you can find me at Vanessa.Contreras TV.
And later in the show, I'm going to speak with civil rights activist and photojournalist Cecil Williams, who had the opportunity to cover Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife, Coretta Scott King.
Yes, but first in today's close-up and Spar and Bernstein immigration attorney Jonathan Aftalion explains why it's important to have a good immigration attorney handle your case.
It's important to have an attorney handle your immigration case because we are very knowledgeable in terms of the law and we make sure it's done the right way. So we have clients come in all the time that they try to do the petition on their own and it was denied for a variety of reasons. Immigration law is extremely technical. You have to get the forms done right or they may be rejected. Also, if you have any criminal type of concerns or issues, that requires the legal research and knowledge to be able to circumvent those issues. We have experience going into these interviews and going into the hearings. So if you're petitioning for a spouse or for a loved one, we'll be able to prepare you for the types of questioning that you may have. I liken it to studying for a test. You could have the material in front of you, you could go into the test and try doing it on your own, or you could actually study the material and go in and be a lot more prepared. And we've seen a much higher chance of success on these applications with proper preparation and the forms being done the right way.
All right, let's do something we like to call social media check-in. Hello,
all right,
guys.
First one comes from Lil.
Hello. Hello.
What happened? I'm here.
Oh, I didn't know if everybody was there. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, then go ahead.
Oh, okay. First one comes from Lil Miss D37 on Instagram. The 11th of next month is 1 year since my interview. After the anniversary, I would like to file or threaten a mandamus. How much is that going to cost?
$1 million. $1 million. I will hold USCIS hostage for $1 million. I don't know how much it's going to cost me. Vanessa.
Guiomana Burris on YouTube. I'm going to be placed in removal because I am out of status. I am waiting for my priority dates to apply for adjustment of status. What can I do?
She's in removal right now?
I'm going to be placed in removal. She's not there yet.
She should have a consultation with me and we'll figure out some relief from removal. I don't know what her relief would be. We would need to speak.
Daniel Kayerme on YouTube. My brother filed or filled out his N-400 and added a child he didn't know before getting his green card. Now, what can he do?
What do you mean he added a child before he got? These questions are confusing me.
Yeah,
already.
it's confusing me too. So I thought you would
Say it
get it.
again?
He said so. His brother filed or filled out the N-400 and added a child he didn't know before getting his green card. So I guess
he hit.
before
So
getting the
basically,
green
this
card,
is
he
the,
added
this is
child
the
that
deal.
didn't
He
know.
had a child, and he either purposefully, negligently, or unknowingly didn't list that child when he got his green card, and now all of a sudden this child exists.
Mhm.
What do you do? Because now
Yeah.
that's potential misrepresentation depending on what type of case you did. So he needs a consultation with a lawyer to find out why that happened and have a good explanation.
Jan Mukam on YouTube. I have finished my fingerprints, but they suddenly closed my case. Why? Why do you know why?
I know why they closed it.
I'm sorry. I didn't even mean to laugh at that.
You did the fingerprints, and then suddenly they closed the case. Do you know why?
What else you got?
I know why.
Look,
Let me see what it says on my Brad Show Live card. No, it's just hamsters on the card. I have no idea why they would close. I looked. I thought maybe it would be on my card. It's just hamsters. I don't know why they closed your case. We would need to speak with you. We would need to request copies from immigration and figure it out and then resolve your problem.
Mel Royal on Instagram. I'm undocumented and I have 2 U.S. citizen kids. I got married in 2018 and my husband is a U.S. citizen. He petitioned for me last year and it got approved. My husband has been cruel to me in this marriage. I want to do a VAWA case. But what are my odds if I have 2 arrests? Both misdemeanors, and she gives the code. I know we don't know it, but it's withheld adjudicated for 2 baggies of weed and withheld adjudicated. I used a friend's ID to get into a nightclub.
Well, we would need to see the adjudication withheld. Doesn't necessarily mean, I don't know what state that is. So I need to know a little more. But the answer to you is if you came undocumented and you file a VAWA, you could adjust versus being undocumented without any documents on how you came here. You would have needed to have done a provisional waiver. So on a VAWA, you could adjust even if you entered without inspection. And if you have misdemeanors that would otherwise prevent you from getting a green card, you can do a waiver for your adjustment through a VAWA based on hardship to yourself. And even if those 2 misdemeanors were so serious that you can't get a waiver, you're not eligible for a waiver, I would file the VAWA anyway because you don't need to do a waiver to get the I-360 approved, and at least you would get a work permit, and they would not put you in deportation with an approved I-360, despite the fact that you have 2 criminal records.
Mysterious _ Queen Bee on Instagram asks, is it possible that after 5 months a person still hasn't received, is it possible that after 5 months the person still did not receive a receipt from immigration? I'm going to call COVID and a pandemic on this one, and that we need more information.
Actually, I would say if you filed something, you didn't get a receipt from immigration after 5 months, either they didn't get your application or it got lost in the mail. Even with COVID.
Okay, Hemi Masate on YouTube. When proclamation states children, that's in quotes, who will age out of their visa category are exempt? Does it mean turning 21 years or 21 years old after factoring in the CSPA? My brother petitioned by my mother, got his case approved in March, and he has been waiting for an interview date since then. Now he's currently 21, over 21.
I'll answer that question. If you're under Child Status Protection Act, they're not going to expedite the case. But if you didn't qualify under Child Status Protection Act and you're going to turn 21, then yes, you can do something.
Sabrina Ape on Facebook, is it safe to travel outside of the U.S. on advanced parole? I got AP when I was with my husband. Now I'm no longer with him. I filed a VAWA, did my interview I did my interview and bought my I-360 to the officer.
Yes, it's safe.
Valentina Corbetta on YouTube. When you file concurrently the I-360 and the I-485, how should you check processing time for the I-485? From when I-360 is approved or from the date on notice of action for the I-485?
It's really basically going to be from the time the I-360 was approved.
Darkest Lee on YouTube. How often do you have to be with your spouse if they are in one country and you are in another? I am a U.S. citizen and he is from Ghana. I have not filed yet. We got married in Ghana.
If you got to ask, you got a problem. Because, I mean, you got to show it's a bona fide marriage. You got to visit him, you know, show something. You can't just go marry him and then not file for him and then 2, 3, 4 years later never have seen him and then expect him to go to the embassy and just say, well, my wife never came to visit me ever again. There's no set rule on how many. I'm sorry, there's no set rule, but I mean, you got to show a relationship.
Noted.
Nazir Montclair on Facebook. I'm moving out of state. I submitted my citizen form. I tried to change my address online, but it won't let me change it. What should I do?
Then fill out the AR-11 and mail it in.
Jody Ann Llewellyn on YouTube. My friend has been here in the U.S. for 4 years out of status and is placed in removal for June of this year. What should he do?
Contact a good lawyer. You know, whenever you put in removal, I mean, you got to go before an immigration judge. And when you go before an immigration judge, you gotta plead some relief. What is your relief? I don't know what your relief is. I don't know anything about this person. But relief falls into one of 3 general categories. One is my life's in danger if I go back home. So that would be some sort of asylum or Convention Against Torture or withholding of removal. Something that you're in danger if you leave. Another relief could be I'm eligible for my green card today. Don't deport me. Look, I got the papers. I'm eligible right now. Give me my green card. I shouldn't be deported. Another form of relief is cancellation or removal. I've been here for 10 years. I'm a person of good moral character. It'd be a hardship to my family if I were deported. I mean, there's other things too, but that's generally your 3 options. So we would need to speak and see what works for you.
Okay, the Forrest family on YouTube. If a husband and wife is in the U.S. undocumented, what can they do to fix that? Both came on a came on a visa and overstayed.
It's one of those days with these questions.
Yeah, it is.
I overstayed on a visa, Uncle Brad. Take out your magic wand and tell me how I get a green card. I don't need a magic 8-ball anymore. What I need is a magic wand.
Yeah.
So the answer is
what?
Yes. All right. So the question is, they overstayed their visa. Okay. So here's the formula. Abracadabra.
Oh gosh.
Abracadabra. Boom. See, I'm that good. No, I don't know. In all honesty, you need to have a consultation with me or a good lawyer. Doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody who knows what they're talking about. Sit down with them, see what equities you have, what you're eligible for, what you're not, and figure it out. I don't have, I'm good, but I can't just boom like that. Nobody can.
Segan Martins on YouTube. What is the difference between I-130 and I-730? Which form do I need to file for my spouse as a derivative to my asylum grant?
The I-730 is what you do.
Michael Smith on YouTube. My brother had a misrepresentation in his form but was emotionally abused in his marriage. What should he do?
File an abuse case and a waiver for misrepresentation.
Ritz and Ray on YouTube. Can my employer file for the PERM I-140 pending receipt of the approved 1797? I am an E2 dependent and my spouse already got the approval, but mine is still pending.
You can file an I-140 and adjustment simultaneously if you have the PERM approved already, if that's the question. Is that the question?
Yeah, she says,
right.
can my employer file for the perm I-140 pending receipt of approved 1797? So it doesn't seem like they received the perm I-140 yet.
No, the perm is from the Labor Department, so there is no I-797. So that's the labor application. After you get the labor application approved, you have to file an I-140 within 180 days of the approval of the perm labor application. When you file the I-140, you get a receipt back. The receipt is the I-797. You could potentially, as an E2, because those priority dates are current, after the perm is approved, file the I-140 and adjustment simultaneously. So I'm not fully aware of what she's asking, but that's the best I can answer. Give 2 more questions.
All right. Sandro Powell on YouTube. My daughter's petitioned for me from July 2019 up till now. My green card still isn't approved yet. Why is it taking so long?
Donald Trump, COVID, budget cuts, and some form of immigration very scared to do anything because of conservative domestic terrorists, and they keep closing. Now we've added a 4th thing in.
Godwin M on YouTube. How long would it take to get an interview after receiving an I-75? An I-725 extension letter for removal of condition?
I-751, and it's 18 to 24 months right now. It's very long. All right, so it is Martin Luther King Day, guys. And I had recently spoke with Cecil J. Williams. He's a photojournalist who has documented the civil rights movement in South Carolina since the 1950s. Cecil covered some very important events and people, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife, Coretta. We spoke about Cecil's experience growing up in a segregated South and his work documenting the fight for equality in the United States of America. Let's watch.
It's a great honor for me to have Cecil J. Williams. He's an American photographer, publisher, author, inventor. He's best known for his photography documenting the civil rights movement in South Carolina beginning in the 1950s. Cecil is now 82 years young, and over the course of his lifetime, he has taken over 600,000 photos. In the summer of 2019, he opened the Cecil Williams Civil Rights Museum and Institute for Social Innovation to house hundreds of images and artifacts from the civil rights movement. Now, Cecil joins me today to discuss his experience growing up Black in the South, his career covering the civil rights movement, and his thoughts on the state of race relations in America today. Welcome, Cecil. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming.
Well, it's my great honor to be here, and also that I'm having this interview by you. It's my great pleasure to participate.
So where were you born? Where were you raised?
Right here in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Fortunately, they haven't run me out, so I'm still living here today. My favorite place to visit, of course, is New York. Everything always draws me back to Orangeburg, and I'm still here. All my life I've been here.
Tell me what your background is.
I am a child of segregation, having grown up in the South, in the deep South, in fact, and in an area that, of course, embraced segregation and rigid laws affecting people of color. My father was a tailor, and my mother was a classroom school teacher. So I come from that kind of background.
Tell me what it was like growing up pre-civil rights movement in South Carolina.
Well, I think about 5 years old is my earliest recollection of maybe something to do with race. I remember I loved automobiles, and my mother gave me $1, and we entered a 5 and 10 in downtown Orangeburg. And after paying 78 cents out of the $1 the mother had given me for purchasing my car toy, the clerk slammed the change down on the counter. And afterwards, I kind of asked her, what was that all about? And she began to explain to me the fact that people of color were treated that way sometimes. I think the clerk resented us being there, and we did nothing to make her slam my change on the counter. But anyway, that was the kind of way.
And you went to a segregated school?
All of my life.
What was that like?
I think I had a very happy childhood. Of course, often we did not have the books, the facilities, and other things that would have refined my education. However, I did receive a very good education. I think that my teachers showed a lot of interest in me. I think that I had a very happy childhood. Often we got the secondary or secondhand books. Often there were names in the books So the resources we had, of course, rely on, often they were out of date. I think that if I had access to better educational material, I could have become, more aware of things as they transpired. Another thing were, of course, the facilities that we were educated in. Often they were substandard. They did have indoor plumbing.
What did you miss by not being able to mix and associate and become friends with other children that didn't look like you?
I would have been able to broaden my perspective and really be able, from the interchange of from pupil to pupil, been able to have a better idea of just being together with other people. So we missed that. There were times when African American or people of color would then play with children of other races. The communities did overlap, but not having the shiny playground equipment and not being able to go to the local library, again, so that I could broaden my experiences and my reading about subject matter. The movie theaters were segregated, churches were segregated, of course, and other facilities. And often, again, we had substandard facilities available to African Americans, but not the newer places, the better equipped places. The civil rights movement, in my opinion, really began only 30 miles from where I live, because it was there that people in the community of Clarendon County, Somerton, South Carolina, 30 miles from Orangeburg, started a protest and a boycott and a petition that is called the Briggs versus Elliott petition.
Were they asked to end segregation?
Initially, they were just asking for better facilities, but the second and third petition turned into the first suit against segregation in American schools.
There's also an iconic photograph of you when you were 19 years old, drinking from a whites-only water fountain. What is the story behind this photograph, and who took it?
A friend of mine and I went to the coast of South Carolina where there was going to be a test of the segregated facilities and also places like even the Atlantic Ocean. And they prohibited African Americans from either going to the beach front. And so the president of the South Carolina NAACP, Ida Quincy Newman, was going to test that. And my friend and I, Rendell Harper, we went to photograph that. On the way back, we got thirsty and we stopped at a filling station, and I took a picture of him drinking out of the white-only water fountain. He took a picture of me.
His photograph of you became the famous one.
Yes, I think I haven't been able to find my picture that I took of him.
You were photographing for Jet Magazine when you were 14 years old. How did they find out about you?
Well, Jet Magazine came into Orangeburg, South Carolina because of what was happening here among the people that was very unusual. We had started the strategy of boycott, merchants that put pressure on African American here. And that was our means of, again, striking out and beginning to become confrontational with the system. My parents had endured the system through accommodation, but I was beginning to become a part of that generation where we actually confronted the system and were beginning to be engaged in marching and demonstrating. And of course, when Jet found that we were using this kind of strategy in Orangeburg, they decided that they needed someone continuously on the ground in Orangeburg, and I became one of the about 20 correspondents beginning at 14 years old.
One of your photographs made the cover of Jet Magazine. When was that, and what was that photograph?
In working for Jet, probably around 15 or 20 years, I only made one cover. It was always something that those correspondents who worked for Jet wanted to do. It was always, our eyes were on the prize of making the front cover.
That's like your Super Bowl trophy.
For me, it did not happen until 1969. And this
okay.
A year after the death of the Reverend Martin Luther King. The people in Charleston, South Carolina, especially with the hospital workers, found themselves in a situation where they only were receiving half as much as their white counterparts who were doing the same job they were. And they started a boycott and march and demonstrations in Charleston. And Mrs. King, Andrew Young, and many other civil rights leaders at that time came to Charleston to engage in that. In my cover, my picture of Mrs. King on the front cover of Jet, wearing the hat of the local union that supported the black workers who really wanted to make the same wages as everyone else because they did the same job.
Did you ever photograph Dr. King?
I had 4 encounters with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. I filmed him with my 16 millimeter camera.
What are your recollections of him?
He was a very brave person, and he had accepted the mantle of leadership at the time. I think it was something that he didn't really seek, but again, he had this bestowed upon him.
Right.
Due to presence, again, at a time in history, December 1st, 1955, when Rosa Parks becomes arrested, and he is elected again to lead that movement in Montgomery, Alabama.
You also met Senator John Kennedy. You actually became a trusted photographer. Tell me about your relationship with him.
Well, I have to take it back to about the 1960 now. During this semester break, when I was a senior at Claflin University, I visited my aunt and uncle in New York. I read in the paper that a person that I admired, a person that had spoken out against segregation, Senator John F. Kennedy of Massachusetts, was going to make an announcement at the Roosevelt Hotel on the east side of New York. And I didn't have my press credentials with me, but nevertheless, I was making my way into the hotel, and 2 hotel security people saw me. And this is a time, again, 1960, I don't think we have many journalists working for even like the New York Times and other newspapers. And they saw me, and they were caught up with me and were about to escort me. At that very moment, I was being thrown out. John F. Kennedy, Senator Kennedy, and Jacqueline are coming up to the podium. They saw this happening, and they prevented it. They said, no, let him stay. And Kennedy and I had a few words. He asked me, what was I doing there, some of my background. And so here we are talking before a room full of journalists. He gave me his personal business card, Hyannisport, Massachusetts, and I shared my pictures. And over the course of the next 4 months of his announcing at that hotel that he was going to be a candidate for the presidency, I became a very close, I think, friend with Senator John F. Kennedy, and of course, photographed him many, many times.
So you photographed him through the whole presidential election?
Yes.
And when he became president, you were not invited into the White House to continue to photograph?
In the 60s were, again, kind of lean. I'm just getting out of college. I was invited, had a personal invitation, in fact, to visit the White House in the inauguration, but I was not able to attend.
Both of these men we just talked about, Dr. Martin Luther King, President Kennedy, both got assassinated. Tell me how you felt about each of those assassinations.
Seeing John F. Kennedy being shot affected me for quite a while afterwards. It was a period of sadness that, again, to see a person with that kind of promise. History has it when Johnson is elected, I think he was able to then move Congress to passing laws that might have been even more than John F. Kennedy would have been able to do, given the day and the circumstances. And Dr. King, again, a sad moment in America, a sad moment for me personally, my family, because we admired him as a person with great abilities. He was able to keep the civil rights movement safe. He was able to keep nonviolence, and again, a person of great conviction. Again, a person who we look back today and said so many things of wisdom we can look back to, and that supports us in similar circumstances today.
You sit with the people who have a problem, and you listen to them, and you empathize with them, and you say, I hear your problem, I hear your pain, but let's work together to make the future better. That's what a leader is. Where is that coming from anywhere?
This is a 9/11 moment in America. I'm very sorry that violence has been slightly diluted the effort. But again, I'm very proud to see that so many people of all colors and all races out there, people know when something's wrong. I'm very happy also that the power and impact of imagery, which has been the cornerstone of my profession, photography. One image worth 1,000 words has often been said. And now with video being able to add elements as well, people of all countries can see what's happening to people of color in the streets of an American city. I don't think that it makes it hard for them to realize, again, as a result of these demonstrations and marches, that while we are so angry and while everyone is angry, because no one would want to be under the knee of an arrest and such a small infraction. Something about a $20 bill?
$20 bill.
Yeah, just incredible.
You know, you've lived a life. Have you reached your American dream? Tell me your thoughts about that.
I'm hoping that people will realize that there's no such thing as race. We're all of one kind. I think the astronauts can explain it best, that when they're in outer space, looking back at an amazing planet, and look back at that planet and say, on that planet, there are people, not African Americans, not black, not white, not even when it comes down to international relations, when all of us, China, Russia, everyone can really just appreciate the fact that we have a great gift, the gift of life. And let's not waste it fighting against each other. Let's, work towards one accord and one race, one people, so that we can make our planet a better place to live.
That'd be an amazing place to be. Yes. Thank you very much, Cecil. I really appreciate your time. Cecil Williams, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Get my shoulders ready. Social media check-in time. I'm going to answer the first question before we start. The answer is hamster. Let's do 8 more. You ready? I don't hear anything.
Yep, where's
Wait,
Yo-Yo?
you can't hear?
Now I hear you. The answer to the first question is hamster. Is that correct?
No, it's not.
It is not correct. All right. Damn.
No.
No.
Oh, damn. Sorry.
All
right.
He said 8 more.
All right.
All right.
Ready, go.
Does SNAP for kids affect parent status?
No.
Can DACA with a pending marriage petition file H-1B?
Why would you?
Will loss of job affect my I-485 interview?
No, but if you're a U.S. citizen, yes.
Is new I-864 needed for AOS interview?
No, not a new one.
Can I renew a 1.5-year expired green card?
Yes, I-90 or at I-751.
Can B2 visitor go for temporary to permanent to get a social?
Pass.
Is biometric required for AOS EAD?
Yes.
Do joint sponsors get a receipt letter?
No.
I changed my name and sex. Must I update USCIS?
This was different. This was weird. This was weird.
What was the question I passed on? I didn't even understand what your question was.
Can B2 visitor go from temporary to permanent to get a social?
That doesn't even make any sense to me. Can you
It
B2
doesn't make
visitor
sense to you,
get a B2 visitor get married and get a temporary green card and get a social security number through a work permit? Yes, I guess, if that's the question. And there was another question about I have a 1.5-year green card. There's no such thing as a 1.5-year green card. I think I think the question was, I have an I-751 and they gave me an 18-month extension. What am I supposed to do? And
How the hell did you get that?
Because that's the only time you would ever get a 1.5-year green card. And I guess go down to your local office and get a stamp on your passport for an extension. And then this last question that blew me up was...
Oh, they said it's been expired.
What was the question?
For a year and a half.
A year and a half. So I guess the way it was, because it says, can I renew a 1.5-year expired
it's
green
expired.
card?
Yes, the answer is yes, I-90. So it goes back to the answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the last one was, I changed my name and sex. Must I update USCIS?
I would think so, because you want to renew your green card and have the right sex and name on it.
And it be your green card.
Right, because other than that, I'm just trying to think. Bruce Jenner is not Bruce Jenner anymore. So if he doesn't have ID as Bruce Jenner, he has as Caitlyn. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the answer is yes, you have to. All right, comments of the day. Comments of the day.
All right. First comment of the day comes from Lisa Bling Rose saying, Uncle Brad, thank God you are here. You were born to do this show to save undocumented people.
Oh, thank you very much.
I like
That's
that.
very nice.
People,
I agree.
not aliens.
Liking it.
Okay. B-Mac says, squad up. You're doing a wonderful job. Thanks for the prompt and timely updates on immigration.
Oh, very nice. Thank you very much.
Nice. All right, our third comment of the day comes from Don Harriet saying, I love schmooze every night.
I do
Ooh.
too. I do too.
It's a good part of the show.
It's a good,
I like it.
every part's a good part of the show, but I like schmooze.
Absolutely.
I like what I say.
Yes,
I like
I
when
agree.
I say squad up to the squad. I like
every part.
Yeah, I like answering the immigration questions. I like social media. I like my interviews. I like the games. I like the speed round. Except when I blow. It is a perfect show.
Great mix.
The only thing we're missing is David Hasselhoff running along a beach. Then it would be perfect for Jill too. She says she's just missing that one thing. She said that to me. I go, Jill. I said to her, Jill, the other day, I said, Jill, it's a new year. What do you think we need to do to just make this show even better than this? Jill goes, I really think it's a great show. I just wish we could get David Hasselhoff to run along the beach every day, and it would be perfect.
And we'll just have to have her replay the Halloween episode.
Maybe.
Have her. Closest we're gonna get. And we have our last comment of the day from Milos Lavminkov, and he says, have no fear, Uncle Brad is here. He is going to resolve our fear and get it all clear. Starting the week.
Whoa! Giving Jay Rhymes a run for his money.
Early in the week.
Yes, Malasov looking to get that job for Thursday Poetry. Trying to, get Jay Rhymes out of there. Yeah.
Good. Fear here, clear.
We're having a poetry. I guess a poetry off. Is that what you would call it?
Or a slam. I think they call it like poetry slam.
Poetry slam.
A poetry slam.
Yeah, we're going to have a poetry slam on Thursday, so watch out. But tomorrow, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Tuesday Tea with Brad. We're going to have some tea tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll see you all tomorrow.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465.